What's up, everyone? Welcome to the FAA podcast. A new format to the show. We got StreamYard here, so I think it looks nice. We're gonna have a great show. Week 7 USFL went down this weekend. Hope everyone had a great Memorial Day weekend, though. And back to it today at work. We'll break down all 4 of the Week 7 games. Just a couple notes on the news front, and then we'll end with the NFC West draft recap. So let's get it going here. The first game here, the Stallions 5-2 over the Breakers. 24-20. Great game. McLeod Bethel Thompson had himself a good game. 24-42, 57.1%, 279 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. So not the greatest, but they did get a decent running day from West Hills. 20 carries, 77 yards, a fumble, 3 catches, 11 yards on 5 targets. But it was Alex Magoo and the Stallions running game that really made this win for Birmingham. Magoo, 16 of 23, 69.6%, 176 yards, 1 touchdown, 7 carries for 22 yards and a touchdown. Marable there, 17 carries, 86 yards, 6 catches, 52 yards on 7 targets. He was the Birmingham leading receiver as well as the leading rusher. Ricky Person Jr., his first carry of the season is a 2-yard touchdown, so good to see him get in the end zone. New Orleans wide receiver Johnny Dixon, he led the game in receiving, 6 catches, 97 yards on 12 targets. Big target load for him in this one. And then you had touchdowns from Jay Sternberger and Lee Morris. Caught the only receiving touchdowns in this one. Morris and caught the 2-point conversion from MBT here. And defensively, have to go with the top guy there. Quentin Poling was all over the field in this one. 11 tackles, 6 of them solos, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and a fumble recovery. Great game for him. And then Matt Coughlin also continues to be stellar for New Orleans, even despite their 4-3 record, 4 of 4 on field goals, 55 long in this one. The Stallions, -1.5. They cover under 45.5. Stallions only favorite to cover this week, and the only under hit in this one as well. How about the Stars taking control of the USFL North Division, 37-31 barn burner over the Pittsburgh Maulers. I had the under. The under got shot out in the first half. I believe there was 42 at halftime. Case Cookus was pretty good, 18 of 30, 60%, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 4 carries for 28 yards. Troy Williams was decent. 18 of 28, 64.3%, 145 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 11 carries for 44 yards. He led them in rushing. But it was Matt Colburn for Philly. He really led the charge in this game. 20 carries, 82 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then 2 catches for 13 yards on 5 targets in the receiving game. You had Garrett Groshek scoring a touchdown for Pittsburgh on the ground. 2 75-yard wide receivers for Philly. Really solid games by Corey Coleman and Devin Gray. Both caught 4 balls for 75 yards. Coleman caught a touchdown on 6 targets to go along with that 4 for 75. Devin Gray caught his 4 for 75 on 5 targets. Isaiah Henney, he caught the lone touchdown pass from Troy Williams. And then Josh Simmons had a big day. 3 catches, 19 yards on 3 targets, 1 carry for 2 yards. Did fumble the ball, however, but he did have a big 88-yard kick return touchdown in the first half as well. And then Bailey Gaither didn't do a lot through the air. 2 catches, 15 yards on 4 targets, but he did rush twice for 8 yards and a touchdown. And then Samuel Akem, he caught his only target of the day for a 2-yard touchdown reception as well. Defensively, it's a good day for Stars defensive tackle LeBrian Ray. 4 tackles, all of them solos. 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. Great day for Ray there, former Alabama Crimson Tide player. And then, of course, another kicker that's been lights out this year, Luis Aguilar for the Stars. 3 of 3 field goals, 45 long, 4 of 4 on the extra points. Stars plus 2.5. They went outright. Over 39.5. Smashed it easily. How about the Memphis Showboats on Sunday? Continuing to win 4 straight, snaps the Gamblers' winning streak at 4. But yeah, they are by far the hottest team. They jumped into the second place spot in the South Division, which is a playoff spot. But 23-20 win over the Gamblers in comeback fashion late for Memphis, leading most of the game. It was 16-6 at one point, I believe, and then Houston came back, scored a touchdown on Mark Thompson, scored a 20-yard rushing touchdown off a Cole Kelly fumble inside the red zone. And then next offensive play, Showboats, Derek Dillon goes yard for a, I believe it was a 60-something yard touchdown. But yeah, exciting at the end. It was kind of a heart stopper, but I'm happy the Showboats got the win and they're in a playoff spot currently now, just 1 game back from Birmingham in that South Division. Kenji Bahar for the Gamblers, 18 of 39, 46.2%, 216 yards, 2 picks. Cole Kelly for Memphis, 12 of 24, 50%, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Kareth White had a great day on the ground for the Showboats, 19 carries, 81 yards, 1 catch for 6 yards. And then Mark Thompson, while not a great day yards-wise, 13 carries, 42 yards, did score twice on the ground, caught 2 balls for 17 yards on 6 targets. Big day through the air for Gamblers tight end Josh Peterson, son of Jaguars head coach, but Super Bowl winning head coach Doug Peterson. 5 catches, 93 yards on 8 targets. Derek Dillon, Vinny Papali catching touchdowns from Cole Kelly in this one. And a whole host of defensive performances in this game. The Memphis defense was lights out the entire game, and the Houston defense really came on strong in the second half. But it's got to be the guy that won co-defensive player of the week this week. Memphis nose tackle John Atkins, 4 tackles, 3 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 5 pass deflections. Just ridiculous to see 5 swats at the ball at the line of scrimmage for Atkins in this one. Really solid performance. And again, he won co-defensive player of the week in the USFL this week. The Showboats +3, they went outright once again. 4 straight for Todd Haley's crew since starting 0-3. Over 42.5 by the hook. Last game here, the Panthers getting it done 25-22 over the Generals. Jersey scored late after Michigan went up by a couple scores. Couldn't get the 3-point conversion. But Josh Love was pretty good. 16 of 29, 55.2%, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns. Kyle Lauletta for New Jersey started the game, got benched for DeAndre Johnson midway, but Lauletta here, 9 of 16, 56.3%, 112 yards, 2 touchdowns. Johnson, 9 of 14, 64.3%, 89 yards, and a touchdown. So no turnovers, which was good to see for the quarterback play in this one. Reggie Corbin had a great day, 20 carries, 78 yards, 3 catches, 22 yards on 5 targets for the Panthers running back. And then Darius Victor, also a decent day. Not a lot of carries, only 8, but he did get 52 yards, 6.5 average on that one. 4 catches, 29 yards, a touchdown on 4 targets. 100-yard day for Panthers wide receiver Joe Walker, aided by a long touchdown in the late fourth quarter there. 5 catches, 121 yards, a touchdown on 9 targets. New Jersey wide receiver Alonzo Moore, also really solid. 6 catches, 63 yards, 2 touchdowns on 8 targets. And then Michigan wide receiver Trey Quinn and tight end Cole Hicatini, they scored touchdowns as well. Defensively, wasn't a lot to choose from in this one. I'm going to go Generals defensive tackle Kenneth Randall, though. 3 tackles, all of them solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss. The Panthers, +7. They went outright. 7-point underdogs winning outright. Over 39.5. All right. Like I said, not much news going on. One thing in college football, the transfer portal. Got a commitment here. Penn State running back Devin Ford. He has committed to Notre Dame. So Logan Diggs out to LSU. You get Devin Ford coming in from Penn State. So good swap there for the Fighting Irish and new quarterback Sam Hartman this year. And then just one note in the NFL, the Browns. They have invited Roughnecks running back Max Borghi to their mandatory minicamp coming up next week. So good to see Borghi getting a shot, even with a team with an established veteran like Nick Chubb already. Okay, I said this was going to be quick. Yeah, we're only 12 minutes into the show, and there's not much going on this week. So let's dive into the NFC West draft recap. So here we go. The first round picks for the 4 teams. The Seahawks having 2 firsts, 5th overall, Devon Witherspoon, corner. The Cardinals with the next pick, 6. They traded back to 6. Ohio State offensive tackle Paris Johnson Jr. And then Seahawks second pick there in the first round, Ohio State wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba. Rams 49ers didn't have first round picks, so the Rams first pick came at 36th overall. In the second round, they went with TCU guard Steve Avila. And then the 49ers didn't even have a second round pick, so their first one was in the third round. They traded up to pick 87 to draft Penn State safety Jair Brown. Circling back to the Seahawks here, I mentioned round 1 going corner Devon Witherspoon, Illinois, number 5. Wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba out of Ohio State, number 20. Second round, a couple picks here. Edge rusher Derek Hall out of Auburn, number 37. And running back Zach Charbonnet, UCLA, number 52. Didn't have a third round selection. 2 fourth rounders, though. Guard Anthony Bradford, LSU, number 108. And defensive tackle Cameron Young, Mississippi State, number 123. Fifth round, 2 picks as well. Edge rusher Mike Morris, Michigan, number 151. And center Oluwatimi. Olusegun is his real first name. Olusegun Oluwatimi out of Michigan, number 154. Sixth round, safety Jarek Reed II out of New Mexico, number 198. And seventh round, running back Kenny McIntosh, Georgia, number 237. So the Seahawks were interesting. They did not go with what everyone thought they would go with here in the first round. Going corner and then wide receiver was very intriguing, to say the least. Devon Witherspoon, excellent player. I think that him and Tariq Woolen are going to be lights out for that Seahawks secondary. And what it sounded like, I think I said this during the draft coverage, it seems like Pete Carroll just wants to go Legion of Boom 2.0 and get as many dominant corners and safeties as he can back there and just lock it down. I mean, they do have to face a ton of really solid players at the skill positions in the division, notably Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel and George Kittle in San Francisco, and then Cooper Kupp in LA. But the Cardinals, now without DeAndre Hopkins, really don't scare you a lot other than Marquise Brown and Zach Ertz. But Brown has injury issues, and also Ertz is getting up there in age. So not sure how effective he's going to be, especially without quarterback Kyler Murray to start the season, probably. But the Seahawks, anyways, Devon Witherspoon, yes, him, Tariq Woolen, and Kobe Bryant form a fantastic trio now. Is just strength on strength. That's something that the Eagles do a lot in the draft as well. Jackson Smith and Jigba, now that was fantastic. There was rumors about possibly getting a wide receiver for Geno as a third guy. Tyler Lockett in his 30s now. DK signed to the big contract. They needed some depth anyways at the wide receiver spot. So JSN, it's kind of a leap with his hamstring injury that he had last year, but the year before that, obviously, 1,600 yards and double-digit touchdowns. So, yeah, I mean, I think he works well with what that offense is going to do anyways. And then in the second round, they finally went with one of their needs, their big needs, which was edge rush and D-line in general. They went with Derek Hall out of Auburn. I think that's a solid selection. Again, fits the need and didn't have to spend a first-round pick on a guy that maybe they didn't believe in or they didn't have as high as the two guys they did pick. So I like Derek Hall there in the second round. The Zach Charbonnet thing was weird because so you have Kenneth Walker, right, who you took last year, and now you have a second guy drafted in the second round. You have DJ Dallas. I understand they had to replenish the running back room, losing Rashad Penny in free agency, but a second round pick I thought was a lot to invest in a running back that's not going to be your starter when Kenneth Walker is a bona fide 3-down back. So it didn't really make sense to me. I understand that they needed backs, but they could have waited like they did with their second back, which I'll get to. Anthony Bradford, I liked. He's going to be a mauler in the run game if he can win a spot. Damian Lewis, Phil Haynes, the guards right now. I think that right guard spot is up for grabs for Phil Haynes. I think Damian Lewis is pretty solid at left. But that could be an option there. And then they went back to, the middle of the draft, really, on rounds 4 and 5. They went back to the lines, which was what they needed to do. So Cameron Young, Mike Morris. I like the Mike Morris thing. I know our Seahawks guy, John Babington there, he loved Mike Morris coming into the draft. Eventually got him. He's a bit of a tweener, though. 275 is the weight that I saw on NFL.com for him. So he's either going to have to add weight and kick in or, maybe lose a little bit. I mean, 275 is not bad for a 4-3 defensive end, but they run a 3-4, it says. So it looks like they have him as a 3-4 D end. So he will be inside, backing up Draymond Jones right now, which begs the question. I thought the Seahawks always ran a 4-3, but this has them as a 3-4. Okay, Derek Hall is 6'3", 256. That makes sense. That's a good size and for an outside linebacker in a 3-4. But yeah, okay, so Mike Morris, 3-4 D end makes a lot more sense. Okay, ESPN has him at 292. So yes, definitely a defensive end teetering on the brink of a nose tackle, really, with that weight, which they have Cam Young as the nose, 6'3", 315 there. Makes sense. So they solidified the defensive line there with those two selections. And like I said, Bradford and Oluwatimi here. Oluwatimi, I mean, why couldn't he win the starting center spot? I mean, he is a veteran at Michigan, and was one of the top centers in the draft. Not really sure why he dropped to the 5th, because I was hearing early on that day 2 possibly for Olu there. But the Remington Award winner in college, I believe, and they get him in the 5th round. Great steal for John Schneider and Pete Carroll. I think he's going to be a solid addition to the middle of their line. And then Jarek Reed, I didn't know too much about, but with Jamal Adams' injury issues the last couple of years, they needed some youth in the secondary at the safety spot. They needed a 4th safety, so taking a flyer on Reed there. And then Kenny McIntosh. So this is what I don't understand, right? The 2 running back thing, again, this one was kind of different, though. This one makes sense. It's a guy that fills a need at a position and also doesn't do everything, right? Kenny McIntosh is going to be your typical 3rd down back that is going to be the receiving back out of the backfield and play special teams. That's what Kenny McIntosh is going to be able to do for you. So that one made a lot of sense, a lot more than Zach Charbonnet did in the 2nd round. I love Zach Charbonnet, just not with the fit in Seattle. So I think with the Seahawks, they did a lot and filled most of their needs. The 2 running back thing, questionable, I thought. The 1st round pick was solid. Need versus value, I don't know. I think I'm going to give the Seahawks a B+. Was very solid. Really good picks. Just doesn't blow me away with need versus value. Let's move on to the Arizona Cardinals here. And this team needed everything. So the trade back from 3 made a lot of sense. They traded back from 3 to 12, and then they traded 12 to 6. So it was really a crazy maneuverability that the Cardinals did in the 1st round with their new GM. But 1st round here, Ohio State offensive tackle Paris Johnson Jr. at 6th. 2nd round, edge rusher B.J. Ojulari, LSU, number 41. 2 3rd-rounders, corner Garrett Williams out of Syracuse, number 72. And wide receiver Michael Wilson, Stanford, number 94. 4th round, guard John Gaines II, UCLA, number 122. 2 5th-rounders, quarterback Clayton Tune out of Houston, number 139, and linebacker Owen Popo out of Auburn, number 168. And then 2 6th-rounders, corner Keitrell Clark, Louisville, number 180, and defensive tackle Dante Stills, West Virginia, number 213. Did not have a 7th-round selection. So this is very intriguing. That's not going to happen. I highly doubt it. But I mean, I love Paris Johnson, and he is going to be your left tackle. But it's, again, interesting. ESPN has him listed as the starting left guard right now. I would have to think that they're going to kick DJ Humphries into left guard and put Paris Johnson at left tackle. You don't draft a guy at 6th overall to be a guard. So that's just me. I don't know. Maybe he does play guard in his rookie year. Maybe he does. I don't know. But I loved Paris Johnson. I really wanted him for the Steelers badly. I wanted the Steelers to trade up to get him. To trade up to 6 was too rich, though. So Cardinals get him here. Great protection for Kyler Murray in the future. They doubled that up with getting John Gaines later, which is a nice addition. As a center, they have him backing up Hjalte Froholt at center right now. So possibly John Gaines could win that spot as well. Have 2 rookie starters on the 5 offensive line. 2nd round. So I love what they did in the getting the defensive additions here. BJ Ojulari. This defense needed a lot of work running a 4-3 Jonathan Gannon scheme. So they got BJ Ojulari, who they have as a linebacker right now. I highly doubt he will play linebacker. 6'3", 250. Yeah, he's a little bit light to play D end, but I don't think it's going to be an issue. I liked BJ Ojulari coming in, so getting some pass rush there, that's a good move. And then Garrett Williams, they needed help all day at corner, so anyone they could draft at corner would have been a great addition. And I think Garrett Williams was a lesser hyped player coming into the draft, but I thought he was a solid third rounder for Arizona. Michael Wilson's a guy that's going to be a jump ball kind of guy, and he can help you right away. I think that third wide receiver spot is not solidified. 6'2", 209 for Michael Wilson. Had a great Senior Bowl. But they have got another guy like Zach Pascal as well. But I think Michael Wilson could push for that wide receiver 3 spot. Marquise Brown, Rondale Moore on the smaller side. Wilson really the height in the receiver room right now. So I think that's going to be a solid starting guy eventually that they'll have there. The Clayton Tune thing was interesting in the 5th round. I didn't really think it was necessary. Now they needed a third quarterback. Not really, though. Colt McCoy, David Blau, the incumbents as the backups to Kyler Murray. McCoy looking like the week 1 starter for Arizona. And I liked Clayton Tune was pretty decent. There were some other guys I liked better than Clayton Tune, but he really did show off Senior Bowl, I believe Clayton Tune played in. And he showed off his mobility. I was surprised at that. And, yeah, I mean, he's a veteran guy. He has a lot of experience in college. But I don't know, does he fit what they want to do? Possibly. And it's funny because the 3 guys they have behind Kyler Murray are not guys that I would classify as mobile. Like Kyler is definitely the dual threat, can do it all, run all over the place, and throw the ball. Colt McCoy, he's old now. He can't really run that much. Clayton Tune, again, I think has sneaky mobility, and then David Blau is not really a runner either. So I don't know. We'll see. Owen Papo, Keitrell Clark, Dante Stills. I love the double corner thing. Keitrell Clark's a slot kind of guy. Can also play safety. I believe he did at Louisville anyways, but he gives you good size and in the slot, 5'10", 177. A little light there, but again, slot corner doesn't have to be the heaviest guy. Papo, though, is going to, I think, fight for one of these linebacker spots. Again, they have a guy like Dennis Gardeck at linebacker. He's not going to play linebacker. Dennis Gardeck is a defensive end in the 4-3. So they got to figure out their depth chart here on ESPN, switching defenses from 3-4 to a 4-3. It's a lot different positions, but I think Owen Papo could possibly be a starter there. I mean, why not? There's not a lot of competition there at the off-ball linebacker spot. And outside of Isaiah Simmons and Kaiser White, who they signed, I think Papo has a good shot at it. And then Dante Stills, why not get some more help for that interior defensive line. Don't have much on Stills, but the Cardinals were pretty good. I don't think they were as good as the Seahawks. They filled some needs, but there were a lot of questionable picks and questionable draft slots at their values and the position that they went with at each draft pick outside of their first pick. So I liked the Cardinals, but I'm going to go with a C+ because it wasn't outstanding, and I think they're going to get some good rookie starters out of this class. But they got to figure out the depth chart issue there on ESPN, and And once I see a corrected one, I think it'll work out where this could be a B or B plus um, draft class for Arizona. The LA Rams here, their first pick, no first round pick, but second round here went with TCU guard Steve Avila, number 36. Third round, edge rusher Byron Young, Tennessee, number 77. Remember the two Byron Youngs in this class. I believe the other one went to Vegas. The second third rounder here, defensive tackle Kobe Turner, Wake Forest, number 89. And then they had a litany of day 3 picks, starting out with the man whom I call steady. Quarterback Stetson Bennett, Georgia, number 128 in the 4th round. 5th round, 4 picks. Edge rusher Nick Hampton, Appalachian State, number 161. Offensive tackle Warren McClendon Jr., Georgia, number 174. Tight end Davis Allen, Clemson, number 175. Wide receiver Puka Nacua, BYU, number 177. 3 6th rounders, corner Travius Hodges Tomlinson, TCU, number 182. Edge rusher Ochuan Mathis, Nebraska, number 189. And running back Zach Evans, Ole Miss, number 215. And then 3 7th rounders, punter Ethan Evans, Wingate, number 223. Safety Jason Taylor II, Oklahoma State, number 234. And Mr. Irrelevant, defensive end Desjuan Johnson, Toledo, number 259. So the Rams are an intriguing case because no first-round selection, right? But they had a boatload of day 3 picks, which is where you make the roster. And I absolutely loved everything that Les Snead did with this draft class. Look, the first pick in the 2nd round, Steve Avila, everyone's like, bro, it's a guard. But they needed help. They needed protection for Matthew Stafford, who's coming off an injury, and they got it. Steve Avila is a massive upgrade in the interior. He had a great Senior Bowl, great combine as well, and he's a mauler in the run game. Cam Akers is going to love this kid. And also, he can help pass protected in the high-powered TCU offense this year for Max Duggan, and did it very well. Didn't allow a sack as far as I know. But yeah, I love the Steve Avila pick. And then you go to the 3rd round here, and then you hop to the defensive side, running a 3-4 defense like they've done for quite a while here. Byron Young is a guy that's going to help you on the edge. They needed some help for Aaron Donald, and Byron Young slotted in as a starter right away, as he should be. They really had nothing there. At the outside linebacker position, that's where Byron Young's going to play. Kobe Turner, what do you know? He's slotted in as a starter as well. Really barren roster. They really didn't have a lot, especially on defense. So getting 2 starters there in the 3rd round, I thought that was fantastic. Stetson Bennett, I mean, he's going to be a guy that possibly could be your backup right away. They have Brett Rippon, who they signed, but I think Stetson is the veteran guy. Even as a rookie, he's 25 years old. And, right here, 2 national championships back-to-back. So he's experienced. He has a good arm, great mobility, can play in a pinch if he needs to. And I think Stetson's going to do well with another Georgia quarterback there and Matthew Stafford to mentor him. 5th round, I mean, again, all needs. Edge rush again with Nick Hampton, who is not slotted as a starter. He's slotted as the backup outside linebacker to Michael Holt. Could probably be a starter eventually, I think, Nick Hampton. He played inside linebacker at App State, but 6'3", 235. Pretty light for the edge, so I'm not sure if he's going to play there. But that's where he was drafted as an edge. Love the Warren McClendon pick. They have Joe Noteboom and Rob Havenstein. They didn't have a lot behind him, Alaric Jackson. But I think Warren McClendon was one of the better offensive tackles in this one. And maybe if he would have returned to Georgia, he could have had even better. I believe he came out early anyways. I might be wrong. But, yeah, Warren McClendon, I loved that pick. Joe Noteboom's been banged up the last couple of years, and Havenstein is not getting any younger in his age 31 season. So possible future right tackle there and swing tackle for the moment. Davis Allen, very solid. They had a good tight end room already. Tyler Higbee, Bryson Hopkins, Hunter Long. But I think Davis Allen is a guy that played very well at Clemson. Big, massive frame jump ball guy, 6'6", 250. Going to give you some options there in the passing game. They do have a lot of size with their tight ends, though. Already, Tyler Higbee 6'6", Bryson Hopkins 6'4", Hunter Long 6'5", and again Davis Allen 6'6" as well. So I think he could move up, possibly fight for that tight end 3 spot, make the roster. We'll see how that works out. Puka Nacua, man, I mean, he could be a really solid option in the passing game, even as a rookie. Fluid route runner throughout his time at BYU through Zach Wilson and Jaron Hall. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to make this roster definitely, and could play nicely in that offense. These 6th rounders, I love it. Travius Hodges-Tomlinson was an absolute steal in the 6th round. He's going to be your nickel corner from day one. They needed a lot of help at corner. Robert Rochelle, Kobe Durant, Darian Kendrick, their starting 3. So Travius Hodges-Tomlinson comes in, again, nickel starter right away. Can play safety as well if you need him to. Oshwan Mathis, again, hitting the edge rush 3 times in this one. Mathis, a guy that's coming off the edge with speed a lot. He needs to learn how to use some power moves, but I think it's a solid developmental pick there. Zach Evans is a guy, he's a pounder that can take it the distance. They needed a lot of depth at the running back spot after Akers and Kyron Williams. So getting Zach Evans in the 6th, I thought was a great value there. Mild catching ability out of the backfield, but again, a pounder up the middle. He's going to get some goal line work, I have to believe, in his rookie year at the very least. Ethan Evans, look, I don't know too much about this punter, but he's their only punter on the roster, so he's going to have to do filling a need there in LA. And then Jason Taylor in the 7th round, that's just highway robbery. I mean, he could be a starter. Very good career at Oklahoma State. I loved that guy coming out, possibly in the earlier day 3 picks in the 4th or 5th, but goes in the 7th. And I think he's going to be an awesome player for LA there. Don't know anything about Deshaun Johnson, unfortunately. Mr. Irrelevant, though. We saw how Mr. Irrelevant played last year, Mr. Purdy in San Francisco. But yeah, I loved the Rams draft, getting a lot of picks, filling the roster, and going to rely on a lot of rookies this year. But I think they got a lot of very solid picks. And without the 1st round pick, I don't really care, though. I think I am going to give it a B+ without a 1st round pick, but a B+ nonetheless actually, an A is the highest, so I'm going to go with A-. Because I want them to be just below the highest pick. If they had a 1st round pick, it'd be an A all day. 49ers here, last team, no 1st, no 2nd. 3rd round, they have 3 picks. Safety Jair Brown, Penn State, number 87. Kicker Jake Moody, Michigan, number 99. And tight end Cameron Latu, Alabama, number 101. No 4th round pick. 2 5th rounders. Corner Darrell Luter Jr., South Alabama, number 155. Edge rusher Robert Beal Jr., Georgia, number 173. 6th round, linebacker D. Winters, TCU, number 216. And 3 7th rounders, tight end / fullback Braden Willis, Oklahoma, number 247. Wide receiver Ronnie Bell, Michigan, number 253. And linebacker Jalen Graham, Purdue, number 255. 5. So I was not very impressed by John Lynch in this draft. Liked the third round picks, though. Their first 3 picks of the draft. Jair Brown was an obvious pick. Jimmy Ward out in free agency, so they needed to fill that safety spot. They have Talanoa Hufanga, who was a great one, Deshaun Gibson, George Odom, and now Jair Brown. I think that was a great fit there. Can play safety or slot corner if you need him to, which they might need him to with looking at what they have in their backup corners, Samuel Womack, Isaiah Oliver. Jake Moody. I mean, they released Robbie Gould. They did trade for Zane Gonzalez, so it's going to be a battle, I have to believe, between Jake Moody and Zane Gonzalez. But third round kicker, that's asking a lot. And he was definitely the best kicker in college football, but top 100 selection, that's tough to look. That's a tough look when you don't have a lot of picks. And I mean, they did end up with 9 selections total, but top 100 selection on the kicker, that is a tough look when they don't need a lot of other stuff, but they could have used some other stuff, I would say. The Cameron Latu selection, I mean, yeah, they've done okay with the backups to George Kittle in the last couple of years, Charlie Warner, Ross Dwelly. But I think I agreed with John Lynch. It was probably time to take a swing and try to find the future at the tight end spot, because George Kittle is entering his age 30 season. So who knows? I mean, he could play for, 5 more years, 6 more years, like Travis Kelce has been doing in his age 35, but you never know. And Kittle's been banged up a little bit the last couple of seasons. Darrell Luter, really solid selection. I think he'll help, but they had a pretty solid corner group. Might make the roster, might not, I'm not sure. Robert Beal, I mean, they just kept adding to the edge rushers. I don't even know if he's going to make it because they already had a solid top 8. They list him as a off-ball linebacker, actually. 6'4", 250. That's a little heavy for me on the off-ball linebacker, but makes sense given their 4-3 defense. D. Winters there, another linebacker. So yeah, that was one of the bigger areas of need. They did need a lot of help at the backup linebacker spots. So that's why they went with Beal, Winters, and Jalen Graham. But yeah, D. Winters had a great college football playoff. Really solid player. Braden Willis is going to be the H-back. He is not listed on the roster right now, as far as I see anyways. But I had to think that he will slot in as a tight end if he makes the roster, and then fill as an H-back in Kyle Juszczyk's stead. But not sure he makes the roster. Ronnie Bell's another good flyer. I think they took a shot on some guys before that worked out. So Ronnie Bell is a guy I wouldn't be surprised if he makes the roster and does well. Pretty solid career at Michigan. But I wasn't really a big fan of the Niners draft outside of the top 3 selections. So I'm going to go with a C- here for San Francisco. They had 9 selections. I don't think they utilized them as well as they could have. I would have liked to see them draft a running back late to get a third guy to upgrade over Jordan Mason, Tyrion Davis-Price. Probably spend more at the wide receiver position. I'm not really sold on the guys outside of Samuel and Ayuk. And then offensive line, they should have drafted a tackle. I mean, Trent Williams isn't going to play forever, and can Colton McKivitz be the guy at right tackle? They have Matt Pryor as the swing tackle as the backup. But yeah, I thought that was the biggest issues that I had for this class here. So yeah, C minus for me for San Francisco. So just to recap here, I'm going with the Rams at the top, A minus. Seahawks get the second best grade at a B plus. Cardinals come in at a B or a C plus, and the 49ers come in as last as a C minus. So that's all the draft recaps we have. And now it's the time, the fun time of the off season to start predicting stuff. So we will have on the Friday show this week, we will start with our NFC South season prediction, breaking down all 4 teams, giving them record predictions and what we think they're going to do it in fantasy with all their skill position players. And then next Tuesday, we'll be back here. We'll talk AFC South season preview as well. Got 3 rookie quarterbacks in the division. Probably Gardner Minshew going to start for the Colts, but we have CJ Stroud with Houston, and we still have Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee. Who knows how long he is going to last with Will Levis on tap there. We'll talk about all the other guys that they have. But yeah, USFL Week 9 next week. We'll have all your Week 8 game recaps, just trucking through this season here. As always, don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter, at FAA_bets as well. And then FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Thank y'all, and we will see you back for Football Friday.